It's aggressive. I had my hood on and somehow it kept finding its way underneath the hood and attacking me in the face.
No, I can't get my thing unzipped because I got my seatbelt on.
Well, you know what? It's cold outside. Why don't you leave her zipped up?
No, I unzipped it already.
You know, this car has a feature. If you have the windshield wipers on and then you start reversing, it automatically turns on the windshield wipers in the back. That always freaks me out a little bit. Like I start to back up and I see it moving and I think I'm running over somebody. One day I'm going to get used to it. I'm going to be like, oh, that thrashing about behind the car is just the windshield wipers. But I'll be some poor person.
Wow, Dad. Okay, well, anyways, Dad.
Oh, sorry, that was kind of dark. I apologize.
Okay, well, Dad.
Okay.
So, like, if there, what do you think mythical creatures were ever like alive or a thing or something? Like, I'm talking unicorns, griffins, gargoyle. I guess it's mythical.
Some of them maybe did.
Like what? What mythical creatures do you know about?
I saw a guy the other day on a podcast. He was saying he thinks there may really have been dragons. And his reasoning was how every culture talks about dragons. You know, cultures in different parts of the world talk about dragons. You know, but of course we don't have any dragon bones or anything like that. And he was saying because they're kind of like birds or whatever, they had real lightweight bones. And that, anyway, you know, didn't sound totally unreasonable, but so maybe dragons are real.
Dragons are pretty cool. One of my favorites. You know, but like, I don't know my favorite mythical creature to be honest. I just don't like when you say something is legendary. I'm like, that's awesome. When you say something is like not legendary as like you don't, it's not very common to see it. Not like
Right.
Not like it's cool. But if you say something's legendary, I'm like, that's awesome. But if you say something is mythical, like
That's even better. That's better than legend.
yeah, that's even better than.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, like you would never hear of a legendary dragon that mythical dragon.
There you go. You know, I also watched a show where it talked about, think about like nowadays we have all these scientists who have discovered all these bones of whatever, right? Fossils of dinosaurs, old woolly mammoths, blah, blah, blah. But think about back in the day, before we already knew all that stuff, and you found a woolly mammoth head. Well, I think it was the woolly mammoth, you know, where their snout comes out? There's like a big hole in the middle of the skull. Well, guess what? If back in the day, if you didn't know what it looked like, you might think that was a cyclops or whatever. So think of the cool stuff those people used to find, like old bones, and then they had to try and figure out what it was. Like they just, in their own mind, they had to go, man, what kind of head was this? This is a giant man with one eye. Maybe he had wings and fangs or whatever. Like, that's pretty cool.
Cyclopses, I completely forgot about them. They're kind of scary. Like when I think of a cyclops, usually cyclopses just have one eye. But when I think of a cyclops, I always think of like he's really big, like he's huge, like 20 feet tall.
Yeah.
And he has a big club. Always a club, not a sword or some nonsense like that. A club, Dad. And you got one eye and he's huge. That's what I always think a cyclops is. But really what a it's just one eye. That's what makes a cyclops special.
You know what's even, you know, as somebody who's our size, I saw a show, I think it was like Sinbad the Sailor or something like that. Anyway, he came up against a cyclops. And the cyclops, though, was wearing like this loincloth looking thing. And I was like, man, think if you were being attacked by a cyclops, and it wasn't bad enough, you got this giant cyclops coming at you, but he's wearing a loincloth and you're looking right up under his loincloth. It's like, give me a break, dude. Put some underpants on. Like, That's the last thing you see. You know, is under this dude's loincloth. It's ridiculous. You wouldn't want that. I'd rather face a dragon.
Well, that's saying something, because dragons, ferocious, Dad. Ferocious.
They don't wear a loincloth.
Yeah, they don't. They don't need one, Dad. They're there. And there's a bunch of different types of dragons. You know, do you think maybe, dinosaurs were real? Of course, we found bones.
Right.
They could not. They were real. Anyways, do you think maybe one of the dinosaurs, like dragons, I'm thinking a dinosaur is a dragon. Like a dragon is a dragon is a dinosaur. But like a dragon evolved into a dinosaur.
Yeah.
So it was once a dragon.
Well, look, you've seen those big pterodactyl-looking things. Are they any? I mean, they're not really any less strange-looking than a dragon.
They're
Right?
very different, Dad.
I mean, I know they're very different, but I'm just saying, if dragons are a real thing, and then we saw a picture of a pterodactyl, we'd be like, well, that looks ridiculous. I mean, dinosaurs themselves are. If we didn't know that they were really around, which not everybody believes that they were, but if we didn't, most of us believe that. If we didn't know that and have the bones to prove it, it'd be kind of hard to imagine those things being on Earth, right?
Yeah. How would we even imagine that if we hadn't found any bones? Like, how would we? I get it. Someone could just think of that, but like, why would we even think of that?
Well, because
That's
we're
a real
people
thing.
and we have big imaginations, and we always think about, it's fun to think about scary things, right? So big creatures that could eat us, that's kind of a scary thing, right? That's aliens with
That,
powers,
I think that's only you.
monsters.
You enjoy thinking of big scary reptiles that are gonna eat you?
Well, your favorite's the loincloth guy. So
What do you mean
you're
that's
the
my
one who's
What
got
do you
the
mean?
problem, not
What?
me.
What do you mean that's my favorite? I never said that was
You
my
said
favorite.
you really like the cyclops. He's your favorite.
I never said that. Literally, I never said that. I said I never had a favorite. I don't have a favorite. Obviously, you aren't listening to me. You don't care.
Well, you know what? It's Friday. We're going into the weekend.